Oh, the OBS. Yes. So we're gonna have a new. It'll be 2 videos in the archive. So this will be part 2. Um, and I'll send the new link here. Sorry, bear with me a second. Yeah. Okay. And it'll just be easier this way. Have 2 different.
Jeff, your song was just rocking too hard.
Yeah, I guess so. There's too much spiritual matter coming down the stream.
Yes.
I'm just very curious, Jeff. What were you like inspired by?
Well, I was spent a couple months recently over in China. Was up into into the Tibetan region, up in Yunnan, and over to
Really?
yeah, and was in listening to a lot of the Nasia NAX I think IA like and some of the music they're bringing back about 400 years and so I don't know. I started just playing with the tubes and the tubular bell sound, and then that all just sort of fell into place after a bit.
Yeah, I can hear like a couple of those like low um Tibetan like drums in there. It's it is like really nice. Like it's a very relaxing feel.
Oh,
All right, I'm
thank
gonna
you.
go ahead and try to play that again. So
Okay.
let's give it one
Oh,
more
are we
shot.
getting so we're supposed to re-enter uh this
Yeah, I put the new YouTube link in the
okay.
Zoom chat.
Give me a
So that's
give
the
me a sec.
one that's live now. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the odds are on this, but it's not totally bad. All right, let's go to
Canadian internet, man. Trash.
say again.
Canadian internet is trash.
Yes, yes. Well, that second time around went a lot more smooth, that's for sure.
Thank
Uh,
you for doing that. That's kind of you.
yeah, good track. I saw the comment there about the organic um, suggestion,
Yeah.
but I personally do like the contrast too. You know, there's kind of like the
Mhm.
urban,
Yeah,
straight up drum machine sound, very
exactly.
clean, and then you have this organic at the same time. So it's kind of like a synthetic
Mhm.
organic, you know. But anyway, I
So,
thought it was good.
Yeah, I think it's all about finding that balance. I think, because you said you were influenced by the Tibetan and Chinese sounds of that region. I would, lean a bit more into representing that, and trying to just like understand, and I think, I was just a bit more curious about your motivations with this tribe because you talked about like being inspired by this like meditative sound that you were getting there, and that's great. And it's like, even like including more sounds to represent that area, represent the people, represent the culture of that area, is something that would like just make the track more uh, just make the track like I guess like more
Authentic.
yeah,
or maybe look
authentic.
at a
Yeah,
sample
exactly.
pack. Find a sample pack with stuff that's
Yeah.
going on from like Chinese nature and culture, and
Hmm.
maybe try and mix it in the track with like some side chain, like
Yeah.
before the truck comes in or something. It could be
That's
possible,
an
but definitely
interesting
keep the drum
idea.
machine. Don't
Yeah.
use like definitely keep the drum machine and also like the synthesizer stuff, But occasionally it could have some sprinkles of like Chinese culture, I guess. If
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I
And
like
it's
the
like,
idea. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, and it's like not like trying
like
to, go too much in one way because like I do love like the dichotomy of the synths and the drum pads and with that. And I think that's the whole thing. It's like supposed to be this mixture of influences.
Hmm.
And I think, even accentuating that further would really make the track feel more alive, more, more human, as it were. That's just like my 2 cents.
Yeah, you could have some old hip hop hits like, like one
But
hitters or some scratching, if you really want to go like more in
I
that
mean,
direction. But
it just
I
depends
think it's your vision, it's
on how
your
much time you want to
Mhm.
spend on it too. Like if that's the track, that's the track. Who are we to say anything?
Well, I think it's a great idea. Yeah, I got some, some beginnings from that, and certainly a lot of the sounds that I've, heard, uh, you know, uh, would really fit in there very well. There is even its challenge about getting samples because, frankly, there's not a lot, on the internet that would be authentic there. Like there's a
Yeah.
cultural museum in Lijiang, and they've been trying to bring the music back after 400 years. I would presume that a lot of the sounds and things were lost. They have some absolutely beautiful, antique instruments, and there's a group of about 17 people. A couple of them are in their 90s. They play every single evening. But it it would be really cool to have some samples of that group. And
Peter just threw a link there.
yeah,
So thank you there, Peter. Yeah,
Phil's got
maybe.
something in here too.
Yeah, I
Thank
put
you.
a there's this is like not instruments, but there's more like sounds of the environments, and they have like sounds from all over the place. Like they have Singapore pickleball game. They've got Taiwan crowds at the zoo, China high-speed rail in motion. I mean, there's tons of stuff there. Chinese public life. I mean, that's a great like resource to try to like you could throw some elements of that in there, like just like the things that you're passing by as you're as the song is happening. There's China, nature, urban life. I mean, there's just tons and
Yeah,
tons of stuff there,
it's a good idea.
and
It's
they're
not
pretty cheap.
something that it's not something I usually do. I don't usually use
Hmm.
samples. I usually
Yeah.
try to create my own sounds and work through that. But somewhere in there, there's some good ideas. And I was looking at what you had said, Phil, about the high note there. I just got something. I think it was Sonos, so maybe that will soften up that the high. And
Yeah, it just when it came in, it was a bit harsh in the frequency. I could also see it on my meters a little bit.
okay,
So just to tame that down, either with EQ or some kind of a resonance damper
yeah,
utility of some sort. The only other comment I had was, other than I like the track, the when you have the reverberation of kind of the bell or the kind of the heavier metallic sounds at the end, they're kind of muddying up the mix a little bit. So maybe roll off the bottom end of those a little bit on
okay.
the reverb, just to keep them from kind of reverberating into each other a little bit towards the end.
Yeah, I
Anyway.
that was something I added more recently, and because I wanted to vary up the sounds of the tubular bell. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think it could be cleaned up a
But
bit. So
but
thank
but
you.
the
Yep.
thing you have to be careful with that, to not take the body of the samples away,
Yeah, I was talking about the EQ or the reverb itself, not the
Ah,
actual
the effect is, yeah,
Oh,
definitely. You can low pass and
Yeah,
high pass uh,
exactly.
the reverbs.
how are you removing reverb? What's your go-to technique?
Well, actually, there's a great plugin. I
You,
gotta see if I can find it.
you
It's
don't
called
even need you don't even need that. Like if you lose
no,
Valhalla
this.
Vintage Reverb, it has a low pass and high pass knob on it,
Yeah,
so you can
Hmm.
make the
Hmm.
reverb, squeeze it here, or just have it here, or
Oh, on the reverb you're adding. What I mean, my question was like if there's reverb in a sample and you're trying to remove it, like I could use
yeah.
something like that.
Hmm.
Well,
That's
here's
accurate. Like,
a. I don't know if you can do that, but this is a great plugin. It actually will take all your reverbs and give you the ability to kind of help clean them up a little bit. Highly recommended.
okay.
Basically, it's a VST that hosts reverb VSTs or effect VSTs. I think mainly reverb VSTs, but it'll allow you to control like the tails a little bit more surgically. Um,
Hmm, interesting.
it's well worth it.
Yeah.
It's anyway, take a look at that.
the
It's
the
pretty cool.
shape of the tail or the frequency.
It basically will, well, you'll just have to read what they say about it, but it basically allows you to clean up the reverb. So it basically allows you to re-trigger your reverb for each audio transient or MIDI note, and then that way you can control it a lot better. Instead of just running everything through a single reverb, you can put it on like per instrument. Anyway, pretty cool concept. I got it on sale when it first came out, so it's a little more pricey now. But anyway,
No, thank you for that.
And
hmm
thanks for your comment, Phil, about the bass, because I had
yep,
just at my last run at this thing had reduced my bass and a little bit. So
yeah. I was almost gonna say bring it back up a little bit. Like in certain areas, it's very clear and prominent, but then it disappears in other areas. So,
ah,
um, I would bring it up just a little bit, make it a little bit more present,
okay.
just a touch. Yeah.
I guess I haven't quite found this sweet spot because I thought I had it and it was a little loud and I brought it down. So yeah.
Overall, like very calming track. Yeah, that's like the big takeaway I have is like it's very relaxing. I have friends who are Tibetans, it has like a lot of these elements of like like it has like a bit of influence of like Tibetan Buddhism and like that kind of meditative feel. So
Hmm.
like I like that a lot.
Oh, well,
May-
I had the opportunity to go up in Shangri-La to the I guess this a large Buddhist monastery and spend a day there. It was quite a an opportunity. So it's just
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Nice,
it was.
nice.
It was.
Yeah, it'd be good to get some field recordings, like if you
It
have like a
would
Yeah.
be.
portable,
It would be. In fact, that's
you
sort
know.
of my
Yeah, that's what
my
it came to mind when you're speaking of
yeah,
this. I'm like,
yeah.
it's I gotta get something like that myself. I mean, sometimes you can use your cell phone. It's not the worst, but wind and whatever
Yeah.
is something you gotta
I
deal
mean,
with.
Peter Gabriel was going to the junkyard, to the scrapyard in the 80s, and he was recording stuff and putting it into his sampler Fairlight at the time. And that's
Yeah,
how he added sound effects to his famous hits.
yeah, he's had some very interesting compositions too. I like what he
Hmm.
did. Anyway, well, thanks again, Jeff, for
Thank
sharing.
you, everybody.
And let's spin the wheel. All right, Thomas.
Yeah,
I
Tomasz.
think I
Mhm.
saw
Yes.
a link, a YouTube, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
I sent a YouTube link.
All
Yeah,
right.
so this is going to be a little bit different. I mostly work with hardware and live performance, so I don't worry too much about you know um, a lot of the track mixing and mastering stuff. I just do something and record it and let it go and move on to the next thing. This year hasn't been super productive for me. Most of my music time has gone into learning how to play bass in a rock band that I accidentally found myself in. But I have managed to do a few things. So this one piece was just kind of an improvised ambient exploration. Specifically, what I was trying to do is use a looper and just layer 5 different uh, patches from one synth and just make sort of a little short ambient soundscape sort of thing. So that's what you're
All
gonna
right. Yeah, it'll maybe take me 10, 15 seconds to set this up, but it'll eventually get on there. It should be okay.
hear.
Let's check it out.
No problem. Thank you.
Super
Really
cool.
nice.
Super cool.
Amazing.
100%. You got all figured out.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks,
For the
guys.
live show, you are prepared. You're playing
All
bass
in fun.
in your rock band. You should be playing synth and make a space rock.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, in this band, they were asking this group of guys. I know they asked me like, "Do you play an instrument?" I say, "Well, I play like beepy bloops, like weird synthesizers stuff, right?" And they're like, "Okay, you can play keys." I'm like, "I don't know how to play keys. I play things with keys, but it's not the same." So I ended
Yeah.
up on bass
Yeah,
instead.
that sounds good.
Um,
It,
What synth are you using for that mainly, like that saw lead?
Yeah, so all of the tones there are from the Take Five, which is the synthesizer that I
Okay.
was playing. It's basically a sequential synth, so like the Prophet, it's very similar in terms of its sound
Hmm.
architecture as some of the Prophet stuff that Dave Smith did. Um, so I couldn't tell you the specific patch. I could go look it up, but it was just a patch on that
Yeah,
synth.
yeah, yeah.
Probably two saws with a bit of resonance and
yeah,
Mhm.
I mean,
classic brassy
that's
sort of
the
lead.
satisfying. The satisfying. It's always the simple, satisfying saw here in like Blade Runner and stuff.
Hmm.
It's perfect for that, and you can make that sound in anything, any polyphonic synthesizer. Even though I think, yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't necessarily need to press multiple keys at the same time, but it's useful to be able to do that. So, the
Yeah,
Prophet
yeah,
and
yeah,
Oberheim,
and exactly, yeah, and
uh,
any even a mono synth with multiple oscillators,
you can make it in Serum. You have Serum, right? Everyone has
Hmm.
Serum.
hundred
Yeah,
percent.
yeah. Dude, I could honestly, and I'm not sure if you've already done this, but I could honestly see you doing this live. Like you just tell the audience to chill out for a bit. Like maybe it's like an instrumental break and you just like start
We'll do
layering
that.
this on and it's just like a trip, man. Like you just zone out and you're just like in this very relaxed
The
headspace,
bleeps,
like
though, the bleeps and blobs were really complex. I liked that.
yeah, yeah.
Well, it does carry very well, and I have had a chance to hear Thomas live, and so has Lenny. And
Yeah, we've
I
had
think you
Thomas
should
live.
start your
Yeah,
own band,
yeah.
Thomas,
Yeah, I
and
was going to say that
stop
too.
following those guys
And
and get your own.
You need to put ads for your own
just
band.
to say, we'd love to have you again. I'd love to have Paul do a live set. I think hardware live jams, as we've mentioned many times, it's something we encourage and want to support, and it's enjoyable. And frankly, it's a crowd. I don't know if a crowd pleaser does that justice, but just to say, people do like to see hardware, and it's nice to get a change up on, what you call it, on that kind of, perspective or whatever, live music basically. So, and yeah, like you say,
100%.
Thomas, I mean, a lot of the topics we talk about is mastering and mixing. You can do live side chaining for sure. You know what I mean? I have a mixer that I think has that
100%.
capability, and it's
Yeah,
something that I want to look into. And you can create a lot of interesting mixes.
totally.
I
Yeah,
actually,
you can do a lot with like ducking instead of side chaining, and then
right,
there are
right.
actual specific units. Like I've got this one like pedal on order that's specifically a side chain ducking. You can do stuff
Nice.
with compressors,
Right,
like
right.
hardware
So
compressors that'll do it. So
you'll
But
get like incredible, side effects from a lot of that experimenting with it. And even if you use it as designed, it does the
you're doing
job.
your
But
placements with volume. I saw you just put the volume down on, and then bring the one that you want to be priority. And I mean, you can do that. I don't know
yeah,
if you are
volume and
also
pen.
panning. You're also doing pan. You're probably doing panning too. Panning and volume, and you can put the sound where you want without worrying too much about EQ and nonsense.
you may want to consider quadraphonic sound or surround sound if that's something you haven't done. I know a lot of people get into that Dolby surround and all that, but you can actually do the old. There's different ways. Obviously, it's a huge topic, but you could have 4 channels. That's the real old school way. So 4 speakers, each with their own volume, basically. so you can have quadraphonic sound. So I can sort of see your music working in
Totally.
that kind of an
Yeah.
environment.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys.
And the
Appreciate
music, the harmony was amazing. Very rich sound. I like soundscape. You know, could be in these new Blade Runner ripoff movies, you know.
That's good. Great. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Blade Jogger, you know, the just bad
Blade
joke,
Walker.
sorry. Yeah,
Skywalker.
that sounds
Skyrunner.
better. That sounds better. Yeah, Blade Walker.
Well, they're doing a new Blade movie, I heard, so maybe that'll be it.
Maybe they'll combine it.
Oh,
Blade Walker. It'll be like Harrison Ford and what's that guy? Can't remember his name. Wesley Snipes, was he in that one?
Yeah, Wesley Snipes. Yeah.
All right. Peter, how are you, sir? I think you're on mute there. Yeah, I noticed you submitted a remix. There you go.
I found it. It's called Good. Yeah, it's a remix. Unlike Vosto, I can't sing, but I like working with the vocal, right? So I do a lot of remixes.
okay. I can't sing either.
You sing very well. But yeah, I do a lot of remix contests because I can get a vocal stem and then make a new song around it. Sometimes I change the genre. This time I didn't. It was a house song and I remixed it into a house song. But it's fine. So just looking for feedback on the mix.
Real quick, like, what remix contests do you join? Because I'm like, I've heard about this, but I'm like really interested in doing like similar stuff.
Label Radar has a bunch of them.
Okay.
I put it in the chat, and yeah,
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Thanks.
Any other, if you have any other links or whatever, I appreciate that. It's a good point. A lot of producers could make use of this stuff.
Skio Music. I think you gotta subscribe for those, but that's another one.
And as you're putting those in there, one thing I remember, Peter, about at least one of your remixes, if not more than one, is that like you reinterpreted the entire tune. I mean, it was the vocals of the track, but I mean,
Yeah,
you know, like
yeah,
it might as well have been another song. Like it was. So I was
Yeah.
very interested by that approach that you're just like basically throwing the original out the window in a way. In some
Yeah,
cases, maybe not all.
like-
of them, but
like I said, I don't do the remix contest, you know, to do a remix. I like making music with vocals, and if you can't sing, you got to get the vocals somewhere. So that's fun. So
right on. Okay. Well, yeah, let's give it a whirl and thanks.
Take me downtown, 'cause tonight I'm going back to life. I got no doubt, say loud. I never felt the vibe. They say we're never started. Restart my heart. If I stop my heart, I never started.
Bro, I like the da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum stuff. That's good stuff. With the little modulation on it, stuff. Like, yeah, that's nice written. And
I was
it's
looking for
very
it to
it's with the
polished.
continue.
times. It's with the times, you know. It's not it's not doesn't sound outdated. It sounds like what the kids are listening to nowadays, right?
Yeah, it is a bit on the shorter side. I don't know if that was on purpose, if that was part of the constraints, Peter, or is that just preference? But it's still you know what I mean, a good length, I would say. A lot of tracks are shorter these days.
Yeah,
But excellent work though. I mean, I thought the production was so clean, sounded very polished.
thanks. Yeah,
Yeah,
was short.
I just had
I
a
did,
couple of comments on the stereo field a little bit. I was trying to figure out why I was feeling like there was something missing, and it felt like everything was like either in the middle or really wide, especially like the vocal delays. And I thought if you could take the lead vocal delays and put them in the mid or something like that or more towards the mid to kind of fill up that. It felt a little hollow to me for some reason.
yeah,
It felt like everything was like crammed here or crammed here. That was just the sensation I had. So maybe try adjusting that on the lead vocal a little bit. Um,
yeah. Sometimes you
it just
get
felt
the
like something
dry.
was missing there. Yeah,
Sometimes you get the dry stems. This
and
one
this
was
was pre-mixed.
only
Yeah.
wet, and
Uh
it's
huh.
soaking with reverb. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna
Maybe you
try that
could unwiden it a
VST.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try
Just
that
try it.
VST
See
and
what.
maybe take their reverb off and put it something
Yeah, it almost
Yeah,
felt like it was two different
some
spaces to me.
better.
Like some of the instruments were in one space, and it's probably because the reverb was built into the vocal. So
Yeah.
anyway, that was just what I heard. But
Yeah,
great track. Good
that
job on
was the
that.
word that I was looking for. That they seem to be in different spaces. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
that-
I mean, it didn't bother me that much, but I could sense it. It just felt like something was a little different.
Can I ask, like, for the modulation of the drop, like like did you like I guess automate that by hand, or did you have like a specific plugin that you used, like just make it easier on yourself to do? Like, I was just curious about that process.
The vocal chops were part of the stem, so
Oh, okay.
that came with, and I put a synth underneath it that that kind of followed it. But yeah,
Got it. Got it. Got it.
oh, so
Oh, you gotta ask the
you
original
followed,
producer.
but you with the original stutter, was that in the vocal only, and then you
yeah,
copied it? Yeah, that's a nice touch. You did a good job of complementing that. I was gonna ask about that because I felt like that was probably something you did, but it fit nicely, and
thanks.
it's a
Yeah,
key
man.
standout from that track, right? Like it's kind of like a
Mm,
memorable part, and it's nice to
right,
have it emphasized.
right.
Reinforce it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was excellent work. I mean, good luck with the contest. Hopefully, you win.
Thank you.
And
Yeah. Imagine if I joined the contest. Oh, there's a bunch of dark synths to it.
Uh,
yeah,
Like ju ju
sure.
dark
ju ju ju
house.
ju.
Yeah.
Ju ju
Your
ju ju
house
ju
with
ju
no
ju.
lights on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes they say, they say make anything you want, any no genre restrictions. But sometimes they say, we're we're an EDM label, so we're looking for EDM
I
tracks.
think
You know.
the source that you have dictates what the song will be. So if you have that type of voice that you are working with, it's gonna become that type of track. Like you have to see that as a engineer and producer. You
Yeah.
have to see that, the
But
vision.
you'd be surprised. I mean, I usually don't. I listen to the original. Like I'll just pop into it just to hear the vocal, and I don't like listening to the original, and then I'll just take the vocal and do something with it. You know, and I'm doing one now that's I'm making it a funky house track. You know, and it's the furthest thing from the original, but it's fun to flip the genres on it.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
learned that
definitely.
technique watching Dead Mouse, where in his master class or something, or one of his streams, he just said, "Yeah, I just take the stem, I throw everything else away." I prefer actually, if I ever do a remix, I prefer not knowing what the original song was. Just bring the vocal in and do what
Yeah,
feels right, and whatever it is, you know.
yeah.
But anyway,
No,
it's an
It's
interesting
always,
way to
I
mix.
had this conversation the other day because I was trying to make a tune for tonight, and I was like, okay, I can do a remix. And then I was like, what, how much do you have to change a track to make it a remix, And I basically concluded that it was too similar to the original. Like I didn't feel like it was like a proper that I could say, okay, this is a remix. I could use it in a DJ set as like a kind of a different mix version of a tune. But it's an interesting idea, because there's like refix. Like I heard there's another term that sometimes people will, and then there's like an overused term, I think is the consensus today, VIP mix.
Uh,
So basically like a special mix that usually the producer has of that track. But now other people can do VIP mixes and there's like all kinds of VIP mixes all over the place. But
So
anyway,
a technique that I read about recently, I think the guy called it a ghost track, is sort of like the extension of this, where you take a stem or even an entire track and you just stick it in your DAW, and then you just keep adding stuff to it, and then eventually you delete the thing you started with
right,
as a way
yeah.
to like structure
Oh,
and
for
build out
sure.
your own
Yeah.
track.
Yeah,
So I suspect, Peter, you could probably do something like that. Is build up the track and then pull out the vocal and have something completely original there.
Yeah, or just as a general technique for, let's say, the equivalent of writer's block. You know what I mean? If you're trying to find somewhere to start, you can start with like a loop of something and then complement it, and then take that loop out entirely. That's how I'm interpreting sort of what you're saying as another area to explore. And then sometimes what you can do is the old A/B, switch back and forth back to that inspirational sample as your name. Like Jungle does that a lot. They would get an old R&B tune, play this loop, and then throw like the amen drums over top of it, and then you take out the original sample entirely. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of interesting to see the contrast sometimes. But no, that's good stuff. Anyway, great discussion, guys. I appreciate your sharing the music once again, Peter. Good to see you again, and keep up the good
This
work.
is
Thanks. Thanks
this
a
is
lot.
a slightly a tangential question, but like, do you guys know how how relatively easy it is to, you know, release remixes onto like streaming platforms like Spotify or Tidal or that sort of thing?
I made a remix of Better Off Alone, that dance hit from the uh, late 90s, early 2000s. And I made a synthwave version, which sounded very different. Every texture, every sound, even the BPM was different, but they still took it down. So
Really?
you have to have the
carefully, yeah.
permission, You have to
Yeah,
have the
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's part of a remix contest, then you might get more leeway with it. But if you're trying to sell it on Spotify or something, or one of those, it could be.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit more
You could
dicey, I
do, and
guess.
if it's like a totally, like sometimes in the old days, people wanted a remix of like something extremely, extremely popular that, it basically you could do a white label, like an anonymous record, and it would be like Michael Jackson, but like totally remixed, and just to pick an extreme example. So you can do the equivalent of that in the
Mhm.
digital world too, right? pseudonymous names or anonymous Bandcamps or whatever stuff like that. But if you're trying to get into Spotify,
I'm
yeah, it's
guessing,
different.
yeah, and I'm guessing SoundCloud is fine. At the very least, you could put it on SoundCloud.
Yeah, no, SoundCloud is usually pretty okay with that kind of stuff too. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, well, Udan, is that the
Oops, he
label you
just
use?
dropped off. I think he
Oh,
Oh
had some
no,
internet issues. He
no.
started breaking up there for a
He
second.
said he was here this whole time with no issues, and
oh, here
now
he is.
Looks like
his
he's back.
turn.
Okay, he's back.
Sorry.
Hey there.
Oh, is it my turn?
It's your turn, bro. Stop
Yeah.
dropping out.
I'm sorry. Yeah, literally it dropped out and I was like, crap, what's happening?
The
Hopefully
man with
that's
the
not a sign.
specific feedback. Let's see what you got.
Lenny, are you able to access my track?
Yes, I just saw it. It's a Spotify track. So I'm
No. I'm sorry. I think I sent you a second one, like a
Oh.
Google Drive link.
a second one. Okay, let me refresh.
I just like wasn't sure like which email to add for that.
Yeah, no, if you prefer, I can use the file. Sure.
Yeah, but which email like so it's a Google Drive link. I think I need to add you so that you can like view it, like
Oh, I can give you my Gmail here if I just
if that works.
click on it. Yeah. All right. It might even give you a prompt that I'm trying to access it, perhaps. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it says, yeah, you need access.
Got it. Yeah, are you able to request access?
Yep.
Okay. Let me know.
Yeah, just did.
Okay, I just got it. Let me share and share. Okay, yeah, you should get it now. Okay, do you see it?
Let me just go back to where I was here. Okay. Yeah, let me download this.
Awesome.
Okay, so Stardust. Okay,
Yeah,
anything you want to say about it before I play it, or should I
yeah,
play it
sure.
first?
Yeah, I think I should also just give a bit of an intro about myself to help explain a couple things. So, my artist's name is Udan. It's a Hindi word. It means flight. It's like the verb for flying. And to me, that like represents like freedom and like weightlessness and this like idea of like just being unfettered. Um, and like I guess my hope as an artist is to bring so my heritage is Indian, and I want to bring like South Asian influences into like Western music. I've made a couple like songs that are in the genre of like EDM, house, and like more progressive, and also like a bit, I guess, a bit of pop vibes. And I think the biggest thing has just been trying to, like I said, bring the influences of my heritage into these like genres. So I think that's something that you'll notice within this track. There's like a tabla, which is a type of Indian drum. There's an Indian flute called a bansuri. The female vocalist on this track is doing like this type of like Indian like riff in like Indian music called like an alap, which is like basically like specific types of vocal modulations. And I think that's the whole point. That's the whole point of this track is to sort of like merge these two things together.
Okay,
But yeah.
nice.
Hope you guys
All
liked
right,
it.
well, let's give it 5-10 seconds for me to set it up, and then should come through. So let's give it a
Thanks.
listen.
That would make sense. I wanted more natural, organic sounds in the
our window, but our conversation freezes in the air. Will we wither into shadows, or can we reignite our bones and burn again? Every day we fight another breakdown, trying to keep our heads above the rising tide. Some days it feels like we're stranded in the ocean, but it's okay, we got each other right now. Every day we fight another breakdown, trying to keep our heads above the rising tide. Some days it feels like we're stranded in the ocean, but it's okay, we got each other right now. Darling, we are stardust come alive. The whole world's in our line of sight. You and I can make it right. Billion galaxies above us, they ask how do we forget that we exist. But I see hope and promise in your eyes as you hold me tight and smile again. Every day we fight another breakdown, trying to keep our heads above the rising tide. Some days it feels like we're stranded in the ocean, but it's okay, we got each other right now. Every day we fight another breakdown, trying to keep our heads above the rising tide. Some days it feels like we're stranded in the ocean, but it's okay, we got each other right now. Darling, we are stardust come alive. The whole world's in our line of sight. You and I can make it
Great song. Is that you singing?
Yeah, me and the female, the vocalist on this. Yeah.
I like
Obviously,
your
you're not
voice.
singing the female voice.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Actually,
Very
the
good mix. Yeah.
thank you. Like actually, so
Oh.
there's like a part of the song where it's goes like da ba gadi sari sari. That is actually me. That's not the
Yeah.
yeah,
But you
yeah,
pitched
yeah.
it up.
Yeah, I basically pitched it up.
Uh-huh.
I heard it.
Yeah, you did a really good job of mixing the vocal in there. I mean, it was sitting right in there and present, and the mix of everything else around it, really well done. Good side chaining
And
with the
catchy.
ticks. Yeah, and
Catchy.
catchy tune.
But
Yeah, all around great song.
I
Thanks
don't.
a lot, guys.
You're making like modern like what is it called? Like it's future bass, right? It's from future bass. This type of music.
You think so? Yeah, like
with the super saw stuff. Like I
mhm.
was just wondering if you are making modern music, like is this sound still in? Like so many people have done it.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, you're
I don't
coming
know.
obviously with the cultural influence, which could make it original and can boost you up in that area. Uh,
I always thought it was like more progressive house, but honestly, I don't know. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
that whole. I mean, you're using that. You know, that's like a future bass thing, and
okay, got it, got it.
and with the super saw on top. I was wondering if maybe you can even dial less. I mean, it's your song and it's your song, and you know. But if it was, if I had the chance to mix it, I would actually pull the pitch correction a bit less because
Got
you
it.
guys have good tones. Like Indian, it's all about character and all original and stuff. So
Yeah.
you know, you're not these people with regular pop voices that just need that pitch correction because otherwise they sound bad. I think
That's
even now when
true.
you are like fredonating, I don't even know if this is an English word, but basically you are singing now in your example you were singing. So I
Oh
think
yeah, yeah.
you were singing good. So um, just dial a bit less that pitch because you can dial it in how much you want. So I'd say just make it subtle, but not much, especially when she does the vocal solo thing. Because
That was
I would
good.
like to hear more her nuance of the human, you know, rather than her sounding like a robot from a VST. You know, I think
Yeah, yeah.
when you face the AI music sounds, you know, exactly kind of a bit very pitch corrected, you know. So the way that we could pierce through is actually by dialing less the pitch correction, I believe. You know, but you know, it's
No,
just something to
I
think
100%
about.
agree with
It's just
that.
something to think about. Don't take serious what I say, you know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all serious, man. This is, you know, words of authority here from
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
we have a
think you guys are
dictatorship here, man.
no, you
from
guys
the
are definitely
wastelands.
you guys are definitely much more experienced than me. I think one thing I did want to ask for advice on was that like this song actually took me quite a while to produce, mix, and master. Like I'm talking, it was probably like 1.5 years. Part of it is just because like this is not like a full-time thing for me, and like I had like starts and stops due to like you know just I had to prioritize some things in life and stuff like that. And I think what's it called? I don't know. Like I think one thing I'm trying to get better at is just making songs like faster. Like I don't think this should have taken that long to have produced this and to get to that level. And part of it was because like I'm still learning this and how to do certain things and all that stuff. But like, do you guys have any tips on that, like how to go
Yes,
faster?
you have to practice every day. Well,
Practice.
not every
Yeah.
day, but the
No,
thing
yeah,
is, it
yeah.
will come second nature. When you do so much of it, you'll just go for it. You'll go automatically for the sound that you want. You're gonna grab it. You'll be like, boom, and then you put it there. Like there's not, you're not gonna think how and you know, you're just gonna pick it up. And the same for the effects. You're gonna have your go-to favorite effects, and you're gonna have your favorite go-to arrangement modes. You know, you're gonna know how to arrange the song, even from a simple idea, a loop. You know, you have a loop. You're gonna be like, yeah, this is how I'm gonna arrange it. You're just gonna see it. Just gonna see everything, and you're gonna use the best samples too. Like in time, you're gonna learn what the samples that you like are, like whether you want, you know, punchy drums or how short and long you want, because you were asking earlier about the sound in the club or in the live performance. Maybe you would like to have a kick drum that doesn't create a big sound in a live environment, so you're going to
Right.
use more short short transients, kicks, and those will be safe for live performance, and with more the exact amount of bass you want, and then the mix will just be perfect. So just keep working, and you're gonna develop the instincts that you want, my friends, my
Yeah,
friend.
Yeah, I mean,
I
you
appreciate
you
that.
already have the skills. It's just
Yeah.
yeah, like Valsto said. I mean, this track to me, was finished, complete. Really had a good vibe, good mix, good technique and technical. So, if it took a year and a half to do that, just keep doing it and you'll get faster at it. What did you mention what DAW you were using by any
I
chance?
use Ableton.
Ableton. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Do it
lots
to
of
a
good
master
videos
mix.
out there too on how to do things. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
When
I
when you
appreciate that, guys.
when you're working on this and you're spending that much time, are you really digging into different sections at certain points and spending a lot because you have so many different types of sounds and they are
Hmm.
all very complementary, but they're all you could there each piece required a certain amount of production in itself, each section.
Yeah, I think so the production of the instrumental was what came first to me naturally. Like I would say the progression was like I had an idea, I played it on the piano, I started like putting instruments to it, I started adding like some like Indian instruments to like balance it out. Then I got the idea for the drop. Then I started like thinking about like actual lyrics, started writing those out. That took a while. But I think that production time was actually the production time and the recording time first was not that big of a deal. It wasn't until I started mixing
Yeah.
that like it just took way longer than expected. I ended up like re-recording my vocals and I kind of got very perfectionistic with how I recorded them and like making sure I had enough takes that I could do panning to the left and right and making sure that they were in tune, in time. I spent a lot of time on Melodyne to actually like edit them and like make sure that they're warped correctly. Um, and then after that, took even more time to properly do the mixing chain for both my vocals and for Tenzin's vocals, like the female vocalist. Um, and then yeah, and then some more time to actually do gain staging, volume balancing, all that stuff and then go on to the mixing phase, like go on to the mastering phase. Yeah, yeah. That's like
Synchronizing your transients with her transients.
yes. Yeah, that took quite a while. Yeah.
Yeah, that's annoying and tedious. There's a VST now that does that, but I don't know what it's called.
Hmm.
But I like to do the tedious things,
I mean,
Is
yeah,
I
there
like
a
it.
you get the best results when you do it manually.
Is there a challenge for in this when you're got the different of making the levels are all coming like I mean certainly the production the instrumentation all the sound it all comes together but getting those levels and bringing everything when you're using so many different instruments to me
Hmm.
uh and yeah it must be yeah it must be a
It
challenge.
was quite a lot. Like I think part of it is because I don't formally understand this. I never took a mixing class. I'm not good at things like gain staging and
Don't worry,
properly doing
Martin
mixing.
Garrix wasn't either.
I guess that's fair. Yeah, I like that's the thing though. It's like I did production, right? I finished that, and then when I tried to do gain staging, because like too often, my mix would like clip or like just be too hot
Mm,
because everything was too loud, right? So, but then I started getting confused because either I would mix too loudly or too softly, and then when I like in order to master what I do, what I did for this track is I literally just slapped ozone on it, like ozone elements, not like, and I basically just um use the limiting on it to like actually get it to like the proper volume. And that was basically it. I didn't do a lot of extra stuff with that, and
No,
that's just because I don't know.
I would recommend instead of using that, how about separating each of the things that are in that ozone thing, like getting separate VSTs for limiting, for coloring, and for EQing, and EQing with color and compressor. Like if you get everything separate in exactly the type of character that you want, and then using it together, then you'll love your mix even more, and it's gonna sound like your mix, you know, and you're gonna be so happy about that. But yeah, it's good to practice with this all things in one.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's a great mix, though.
You got a good product out of it. It took a long time, but it sounds really good. So, you know, everyone's got to work through their own process. I think you'll come to, you know, something that
Meter
works
your
for
stuff
you,
also. When you have a track, meter it, you know, just start mixing low so you can pull it up in the master.
And you might start recording now knowing what to expect a little bit more, right? Every time you do a kind of thing. When you get to the mixing stage, you're already aware of certain things that you want to make sure you got done properly or whatever.
Got it.
Because knowing where each instrument fits in its space, you know, is a big part of it, right? It means less muddling around later, like just to kind of more simplify it in a way. Like if you have the recording already in a way that is complementary, it can fit together optimally, I guess.
Got it.
But yeah, thanks for. Oh, sorry.
If you go with this song at try and push it at a YouTube channel or something that does this type of music, and you know, it will give you instantly some fans for your Spotify or whatever, you know. And this might be, you know, your hit, and maybe later you're gonna learn how to mix better, but you're not gonna make that hit again. You know, that's what happened to me. Like I made a hit in like 2018, 2019, got like 1.5 million listeners on it.
Man.
And then I was also doing other good songs in that time period with hundreds of thousands of plays. And then I got maybe better at mixing or something, but I just couldn't make stuff to attract people anymore. I don't know. Something happened, you know.
Come on,
so
man.
Use the gold period of your
the gold
of the start, you know,
the gold
best
standard.
bands.
Actually,
every band, the best stuff was when they started.
Is the gold standard. You know, so.
Yes.
Yeah. You're stuck with us now, Vasto.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for that. That was a very good discussion, and it's
Appreciate it, guys.
It's interesting to hear everyone's, you know, workflow.
Maybe
so
I'm gonna keep the same level forever.
I mentioned earlier that I started off yesterday trying to sneak through a remix for tonight, and I was like, okay, no, this is too low effort, man. It's not. I can't justify it. I can't sign my name to it. So I actually luckily came up with a new tune as early as this morning. So I kind of started it yesterday. So this is pretty fresh. Sort of going back into neurofunk a little bit after doing a lot of jungle and more reggae sort of influenced. But I'll play the tune, I guess. It sort of makes more sense to talk about after in a way. So give it a whirl.
Not bad for a quickie track.
Yeah, well, it's like I forgot to mention it earlier, and I did put it in the chat. It's a remix
Mm-hmm.
of an earlier track that I made. That's
Mm-hmm.
where that
Mm.
intro, so sort of that in this arrangement, it's actually the breakdown part, but in
Mm-hmm.
the original track, that was the intro. And
Cool.
and I always liked that intro. I always liked the sample, and then the beats. It was good, but it didn't have the kick that it deserved in a way. So I sort of had it on the back shelf for a long time. And so I threw that track in as like a kind of a mishmash of different sounds to make a new track. And then when I was struggling to think, okay, what do I do at this point? I'm like, hey, why don't I go back to the original track? And I'm like, and I just literally put the intro in there, and I'm like, hey, all right, that worked, you know. But the arrangement, this is like the extended mix. You know, I felt like perhaps the second drop could use some variation upon re-listening to it now. But
Like, I'm just very curious, Lenny, like, what do you want listeners to be feeling while listening to this track? And like, where would you want it to be played? Because because like I'm just very, very curious about the intentionality and like the motivation for like these stylistic choices.
this, it's not, I really let the sounds lead me more than the other way around.
Uh-huh.
But generally, I would find, especially with the neurofunk, it's kind of like a sinister, paranoid, like alternate, state of awareness. And it's kind of like a high adrenaline kind of, but at the same time, chill. For me,
Mm.
it is. I find that even with like sometimes like you know, whatever, like thrash metal, for example. You can have like both an adrenaline kind of side to it, but at the same time, it's calming. You know what I mean? So I kind of just like that vibe. And it's not, so it's sort of abstract too. So I would say with this particular track, I was fighting a lot of artifacts, a lot of overcompression. So I realize it's not perfect dynamic range, I would say. But I felt with the side chaining with the drums that it was punchy enough. And I was just trying to breathe life into an older track that, like I said earlier, that I had been, as I mentioned as well, trying to remix another track that I felt that was not my own. So at least this one is my own, right? But I was remixing a different track, and I felt it was too similar to the original, so I wasn't, sure. So that track itself was Aggressor Bunks, and that was what inspired this track, I would say. So that kind of vibe, so like a kind of
Uh,
blackout music label,
Black
that kind
Metal
of.
Label. So cool track and stuff, but you stopped the song like 3 times, right? So you split it in like 3 drops, and in the second, in the third drop, I kind of felt like you were showing the same tricks, and in the this style, like for example, if you listen to Noisia or Bilane or Current Value or other artists like that, in the second part, they show some new tricks or do something to the beat or that's different, maybe go half time and then go back into the regular time with some new kind of science fiction sounds that are different to the first one but still related to the first one.
Yeah, no,
So
I absolutely agree. Like it's literally
that's
looped. To say that it's the same tricks, it's like I swear to God, it's looped. So like the second drop and the first drop or whatever, it's the same. It's
like for
literally the same
example,
thing.
when you in the middle of the drop you have each time it's stopping with the scratch reverse sample, right? So it's the same one each time. So maybe it was something else.
Yeah,
in,
yeah, no, I
you
I
know.
agree. Yeah, and that's what I sort of meant by it
So in
being
a
the
sense, I
extended mix.
think the song
Right.
is still a sketch. I think you could add variation to it, because that's what I'm forcing myself to do. I always try to surprise with something else.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm not, I'm not making excuses. But it is something that upon listening to it now, I realized it was a bit long, but it's long for that reason. If there was variation, it wouldn't feel long actually. So, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like a dub plate idea. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times you
I
do
mean,
like a
if you put
mix.
in the mix, you know,
Right. See, that's what I mean. Like
you just put in the mix.
that
That's it.
last 2 minutes of the track, would be layered with another track, right? So it
Yeah.
would sound less repetitive. But I do try to strike that balance, which you mentioned artists that do it very well. They're the heavy hitters in that genre, and
Yeah.
even though they do like a second drop, like you say, they will actually alter. Even if it's as subtle as like um, the cymbals or the hi-hats, the patterns that are complementing it. You know what I mean?
And
So those are,
then
but like there's also sometimes straight up different drumming, a
and
different
and that gives the DJ the opportunity to choose if they could play in the mix the first drop, or they could play the second drop,
yeah,
or they could play both. You know.
right, right. Yeah, no, I
But for
appreciate.
one day, right? You said, I mean, the original. I don't know how much you spend on that, but then you spend time today to make it for the show. I think it's very good.
Yeah, no, it was basically like a few hours, not to you know, to sound
Yeah,
like a total
like
like last minute guy, but it sort of happened, you know what I mean? And I was like,
Yeah.
but yeah, at the end of the day, I felt like it was interesting to me at least. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question there, Sam.
for what
Lenny,
it is and how
there's
much
a
you spend time on it, it's good. Now,
Lenny,
do you
there's
want to spend
a
more time?
number there's a number of like vocal pieces or like almost like speaking that you cut into it. Is that what I'm hearing in there?
Yeah, yeah, that's actually Charles Manson, actually, quoting his
Charles,
father, who was a Confederate soldier, and he's quoting his father saying, we never surrendered. We're still rebels, and we'll be rebels until the end of time. You know what I mean? I just thought it's the irony of
wow.
Charles Manson quoting his father once again as a Confederate soldier, and to him that war never ended. So I was just like, it's it's
So
an
what do
interesting
you
example.
get you pick that vocal piece off of the internet or off of the
In an
library?
interview, yeah, I was watching a documentary. I don't want to sound like one of these people that's watched dozens and dozens of Charles Manson documentaries, but I might have watched dozens and dozens of Charles Manson documentaries, and
There's some interesting quotes
you
in there
know,
for sure.
and even the movie that Quentin Tarantino did, Once Upon a
Oh yeah.
Time in America, like there's lots of that movie
In
that I
Hollywood.
like, or in Hollywood, sorry,
Yeah.
but there's lots of that movie I don't like. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
have some ideas about how to alter that movie. Like, for example, Charles Manson murdering Quentin Tarantino at the end. I think that would be the ultimate twist.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
no, but I just, he was a guy into music too. That's the other thing about Charles Manson. And
is that why they had Helter
it's
Skelter on the wall?
well, and they stole a couple of his tunes, or at least one of his tunes by the Beach Boys. They actually took one of his tunes. Everyone says like Charles Manson wasn't a talented musician, but he actually had at least one hit that is not really attributed to him. You know what I mean? Or maybe it is, and I'm not aware how widespread known it is. But when I found out, I was like, holy smokes, this guy he was rubbing elbows like with big time record people in San Francisco. He was staying at the house. Like the people he ended up murdering there, who was Roman Polanski and his wife or whatever, or actually it wasn't Roman Polanski, it's his wife. But that house belonged to one of the Beach Boys before. And that's how he knew the place. And So I don't know. I just at the end of the day, it's just there's all kinds of places to get cool samples from.
So you
And
took the sample and you got the sound, but then you played with it. You
yeah, I mashed it up. I threw it through some effects and whatnot, and that's where a lot of these vocals they're implied even. They're actually just garbled up, and there's so many effects on them that they don't actually they're no longer what the original sounds
So
were.
what are some of the effects you're driving that through?
I use Serum a lot. So
Okay.
like the actual effects that you can get optionally, and I use basically even sometimes DJ effects actually. And I also do like mashups a lot of the time, so I put two sources at the same time. So with
Mhm.
with my how I remixed this track is I had my original track looped up in my DJ software, and then I had other samples that I was putting inside as well. And then I would record that and then put that back into my DAW. You know what I mean? And then it gets remixed again and like kind of rearranged. Um, but I do agree with Vostel there that at the end, you know what I mean? I just basically copy and pasted the entire second drop is a copy of the first drop. So that's why it sounds like repetitive potentially.
Well,
But
that being said, I really liked that effect. I really liked the overall sound and everything that was coming out there.
yeah, thanks. No, I like it too. It has a kind of eerie, the drums that I use is an industrial drum kit. So I layer up the drums. That's another effect that I like to do. That's another thing that I use is possibly overuse, but here we are revealing tricks, is that if you have clean drums, even the worst sound can be tolerable. You know what I mean? So you can have like a real bad mix, if you will, but some clean snares and kicks and bass. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm oversimplifying, but you know, um, there's a lot. I personally like to experiment. So, a lot of times you go down a road that you weren't even planning to necessarily, right? And I find looping, that's another effect I use a lot of times, is the loop roll. So that basically effectively grabs in real time a part of it and loops it, and then you can alternate its pitch, if you will, like how much of it loops and how fast. And then you can also start sliding that around. So where that starting point is. So you can create like very interesting rhythms. I just wish it was cleaner. So just to get back to the original question, I wish I could do this track, but like with better whatchamacallit, sound dynamics. So that's my next step. I'm gonna try to with this particular track, I'm also going to, like I say, add some variation. So anyway, thanks for listening. And so yeah, I think Phil, you're the next contestant on
Yeah.
tonight's episode
A
of
couple people here, I think have heard this one already. It's a song I started when I first moved out to Phoenix. Once I got my stuff set up and just loaded up my favorite Omnisphere and just started playing some chords with some sounds that I found in the libraries that I have. And then so ended up being a song called Phoenix Sunrise. So it's kind of like a new beginning. Um, yeah, it's just kind of symbolic of like the sun rising and everything coming awake. And anyway, that's all I've got to say. Just take it away and have a listen.
right.
That's amazing, Phil. Really good. Had I've heard that before, but had you
Yeah,
made any revisions on it since I heard it last?
no.
Okay. I found the symbols seem to resonate a lot more with me.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I played it. I think originally I shared it on SoundCloud, and this time it was on Audius, so maybe it was the difference between the two platforms. So.
When you're with the opening keys and
Mhm.
as well as with the symbol, almost like each note seems to resonate uh, on its own so uniquely. And is that a combination of things you're doing, or is it also the Omnisphere? Or
Well, I find that a lot of the Omnisphere, I mean, basically I preset dove on these. I didn't create these sounds myself. I just looked through my gigs and gigs and gigs of library sounds that I've collected over the years and found stuff. And I find that the sound designers that use Omnisphere tend to do a pretty good job of leveling everything. And so everything, and when I'm choosing the sounds, I'm finding stuff that works together, and then I adjust levels and things like that in the mix. But I don't do a whole lot um, on top of that. So
Omnisphere is a pain for me, man. Uh, the libraries that I tried, it's
mhm.
like, yeah, I use them sometimes. One of the good tracks that I made with Omnisphere was Forgotten Robots, where I used instrument that was kind of a watery mallet, but melodic at the same time. So you could make a melody with it. It was cool.
mm,
You could tell a story with it, but it's hard to mix. I found that most of those songs they're very complex layers in those presets, and it's hard to make music. I mean, you can if you just use that main instruments from Omnisphere, that main instrument. So I found it difficult. I rather use more minimalistic sound and
Mhm.
add to them effects rather than use a made sound from Omnisphere because then it's hard to mix. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I mean, there are libraries out there that try to do like the one button push thing. I try to find stuff that I can build off of and layer, and I find that certain library developers do a better job of that than others. I don't want to use stuff that's just kind of already pre-done. So, I find something that's a good synth pad, and then I just do my chords with that. Or the only thing that was kind of rhythmic was the hits that are going from ear to ear,
yeah,
and then the drum loop is just a Rex file at the end. So
yeah.
uh,
Those
not
those
much going on
hits
there.
really came across a lot more this time when I listened to it. If that's the difference between
In a good way or a
SoundCloud
bad
and
way?
Audio,
Was it a good way or a bad way
it was good. It was
that
good. I
came
liked it
across?
a lot.
Oh,
Yeah, it
okay.
was. I found that the
I just wanted
sound
to know
was
because I was.
no, the sound was very rich. I and
Mhm.
really deep, and it was always like changing so that it really brings my attention to the sounds in a positive way. Yeah.
Yeah, you did a good job with like the velocity modulation to like add that like complexity to it.
Mm.
I really like that.
Mhm.
And it felt like a Tangerine Dream experience to me. Don't know if that's what you were going for.
Yeah,
Uh, Not really. It was kind of the words that I came up with. It was feeling at the moment. I'm like, oh, I finally arrived in Phoenix. Now I can
Like it
begin
felt like
again
this could
because I
be
moved out here
in
for a
the
long distance relationship.
Miracle Mile movie,
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
that type of sound.
Yeah, I was
You
gonna
know,
ask you about the Phoenix connection there because I know that you recently moved there and you named the
hmm
track. So you know like you kind of inspired by the surroundings and the new.
Yeah, just it felt good to get the rig back set up again in a space where I felt, accepted and stuff. Not that I was where I was, but I was by myself. So now I'm, moved in with someone I've known for 35 years, and uh, we turned our long distance relationship for the last year and a half or so into a short one now. So yeah, it's much better.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I vibe with that. I get that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you finally get
Um,
settled in, you get your equipment all hooked up again, and you're like, all right, let's drop
mhm.
some. But like, I just want to
Yeah.
echo, like, someone made the comment how all the chords work together, but the sounds themselves, I mean, it was just expertly done. How each element, you know, if it was like food, like it would be like flavors that complement and at the same time have like a kind of uniqueness about them and the interplay of it
Hmm.
all. Like it just, I don't know. It was just really well done. It was very nice to
Yeah, I
listen to.
think
Yeah, thanks. I mean,
uh,
although I patch dive, I do spend a lot of time finding the right one, and I will tweak it a little bit here and there. But yeah,
yeah, I think like my
unfortunately, I've been told that they have to reboot the internet
oh
here,
really?
so I've got to be leaving here pretty soon. But yeah, they're having. I think her son got a Switch 2, and they're having connectivity issues. So um, unfortunately, I have to cut my time short. But thank you everybody for listening. I appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, no, good timing. Thank you for sharing, Phil, and all the best to
Yeah.
you. Hope your internet comes back
See you
good
guys
and
next
solid.
time.
Take
Yeah.
care. Keep up
Yeah.
the good work.
All right.
Keep up
Bye.
the good work.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, always good stuff from Phil. It's always good stuff from this group in general. We've been blessed with some talented participants. Peter, I don't know, you're having some mic problems. I'm not sure that I saw a track that you submitted, but if you wanted to email one in, we could sneak your track in. Willing to give it a shot. Uh,
Yeah, he is saying he does have one,
okay,
so that's good.
yeah. So if anyone wants to hang around, we still got 10 minutes or so. But by all means, appreciate all your
I think Peter's going to send one somewhere.
Yeah, he said 1 sec.
okay, okay.
And Peter, I don't know if you got the current YouTube link. We had to switch. I don't know if you're here for that part.
Yeah, I don't see it yet. Yeah, I'll put the email in here just in case.
Can I ask like how many of you guys do music like full time?
That's a funny question.
I think Vostel, you do music sort of full time.
Oh, I do
Wow.
gaming full time.
Right, right.
Music on the side. Uh, Man, I mean, now I'm in the mood to make music. So I made music for like 2 weeks straight now. Some instrumental
Nice.
stuff, some vocal stuff. It's because I'm a ski instructor in the winter, and then I can just live off of that money. And then I build a house and I rent that to tourists. During the summer season, people go walk around the forest. So they rent some rooms, and there's not much work to maintain that. You just have to clean the rooms and, check them in and out. And so I have a lot of time to make music and play games.
Honestly, it's pretty great that you've gotten to that point to where you can sustain it like full time, like with like these other income streams. So
Yeah, but I don't sustain it from music though.
mm.
subsidizes it. But
from
you know, there's a
other
lot of
stuff.
people. Yeah, there's a lot of people that
But yeah, I'm
find a
blessed.
way to.
I love to make music, and I'm glad that I can have the time to make music. This is what I want to make. It's like my main passion. The second one is skiing. And third one is hiking. I guess the fourth one is gaming, but somehow I seem to do a lot of that. Yeah. It's stupid. Games waste time. They can only be entertaining for a certain amount of time, and then you get bored of them. And like, if you get to grind too much and there's no progress or feeling of doing something cool, then it's a waste of time. In music, it's always time to progress.
Sorry about that. I just saw that Peter, you sent another track actually. Replenish, I think. Okay. So let's give that a listen.
Yeah.
Peter's not locating the YouTube link. It's back there in the chats, but maybe he wasn't online. Maybe he's not got the chat.
Maybe Jeff Kwan is doing full-time music too.
Oh, he has it. He has it.
Yeah,
He does?
if the
Okay.
other Peter G gets his song and play that one.
Oh, okay. Now I got both Peters. Okay, so I'll go ahead with the other Peter. Peter. No, since we haven't heard his track yet, and you know,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let's do it.
all right. So it says trance 4. So, all right, let's give it a whirl here.
Yeah, you got a strong foundation there. Lots grooving, ready to go.
Yeah, it seemed like older school trance. I mean, I'm not like an expert in this particular genre, but when I hear what people call trance today, it's like way faster. This is like some older school.
Yeah, but old school trance had more lead synths with rememberable sections,
Melodies,
you know? Like it
135
would
BPM.
like old school trance would do something like dun 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 dun. You know, it would be some crazy lead like that. Whereas here the melody was more in the background and it was more about the kick and hi-hat and the bass, and like that's cool, you know. You can, like, this is perfect background music, you know, chill, uh play a game and just have that in the background, or you know, it's good for what it wants to be.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Peter Wolf would have been a good person to comment. He's our resident techno guru, among many others in our group. But I guess it's also the volume. You could turn it up, but it did sound pretty deep. Like the kick was pretty good. I thought.
The kick was great. Excellent kick.
yeah, I think the biggest thing is just having more variations, something different for like the listener to like listen to. Um,
I mean, for this style, you can't do what I want. Like, it's not gonna work in this style, you know, the
hmm.
crazy leads and the crazy story type, or like your catchy way of writing pop uh, pop kind of music is not gonna work. This is a techno party, you know. It's kind of like you just go in that trance and you just
Hmm.
move to it, and then they mix through different tracks for hours and hours, and that's what they do, you know.
That's fair. That's fair, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's people are very specific too, about their. But yeah, I was stating earlier in the Toronto area this weekend, we got a lot of events happening, including in North York. There's the Veld Festival. I'm not necessarily a huge knowledgeable about it, but it's a well-known festival. There's a lot of side parties, I would say, one of which I know of on Sunday. Speaking of techno, so if anyone's interested, I can hook you up with some details. But it's being dubbed as like an industry party for a brand launch, and it's a outdoor patio, so it's on the rooftop, and it's right across from Veld. So you could probably like go to Veld and go to the patio party and do both. Um, and it's my friend Marco, so he's quite a whatchamacallit, technical marvel among multi-talented, a multi-talented artist, and he's also, a technical. He works in like setting up audio and lighting and whatnot, so it's always a good quality setup. He's helped us with our temper events many times. In fact, our last two, he was there. So, and DJ Dextra will be doing a vinyl, techno, and break set actually, which is kind of cool. He's a heavy junglist, but he also dabbles and he's a record collector, so he's got a lot of vinyl that he's been collecting over the decades. So he's been itching to do an old school breaks and electro and whatchamacall techno set. So he'll be there.
Yeah, if
So
you
Uh,
is
could
it?
share the details on that,
yeah,
I'd be
maybe.
interested.
Okay, I
Throw in
will.
the Discord maybe or something.
Yeah, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. And
You guys have a Discord?
yes, Yes, there's a Discord.
Okay.
I can send it to you by email. Maybe that'll be the easiest way.
Yeah, that's great.
And
Yeah.
but yeah, so but I mean, I think Caravana is happening, so there's gonna be tons of parties with that, which is always a fun time.
What is that? Sorry, Caravana?
Caravana, it's like the Caribbean festival that
Oh wow.
it's very big in North America, actually. I think outside of the Caribbean, it's maybe one of the bigger type of events and brings in tons of people year after year. And there's side parties that happen as well. So I mean, there's so many spin-off events that are occurring, so it's a good thing. And what else is I gonna say? Actually, for drum and bass, I'm gonna plug some. There's something happening tomorrow, and it's free.
Hmm.
It's at Boogie, which is Dundas West, and Medicine Muffin is gonna be there. Like this is a legend in Toronto drum and bass history. I used to listen to. I'm pretty sure he did the Rinse Out show. I hope I got this right. Back in the 90s, I used to listen to it, and so being able to see a quality, DJ from back in the day, and also whatchamacallit, a free party on top of that, you know. They do a thing every, I think it's the first Friday of every month at Boogie. So if you're into legit drum and
Oh,
bass,
Boogie or is it Boogie or Bookie?
no, Boogie.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Is that
yeah.
like a club or something?
Yeah, it's like a smaller size kind of a bar,
Okay.
but I can definitely vouch for their drum and bass night. That, like I say, is the first Friday of the month, and they're good people. Uh, you know, Toronto has, just trying to look it up. Maybe I've got the wrong. Maybe it's Queen West. I know it's near Dufferin, but it's 1188 Queen Street West. Sorry about that. It's Queen
Mhm.
Street, not Dundas.
Yeah, if you could like
But I can throw that in the Discord too. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff happening. Just thought I'd mention it, and I'll keep you posted on other events that we're planning to do. But I just thought some last minute plugs there. Anyone else got anything they want to mention?
do you guys
No.
like typically what's it called like apart from these like sort of online meetups, what other events do you guys have like in person especially?
Yeah, well, if you look at our back events, you can see them on Meetup, right?
Uh-huh.
So those are like the
Okay.
bulk of them. Yeah, I'll send you a link, Peter, as well by email. But yeah, we like, okay, pretty much it's events that I or close friends of mine are hosting. Generally, is what I will put in addition to these online meetups. But I do want to do a hybrid meetup where it's in person and we do one of these over Zoom at the same time. So it takes a lot of coordination. But yeah, just to answer your question, we do get together from time to time. And we also, we're trying to get the Discord a little bit more active. And part of the idea of the group is to just, to let people know of other events that are happening. So we're trying to support the different communities out there. And, there's definitely a lot of stuff happening though. And I'd like to at least vouch for certain things. So the ones I just mentioned, I can vouch for the Boogie drum and bass. And like I say, the patio party on Sunday should be pretty good. Um, it might, worst comes to worst, you got Veld right next door. So you can always crash that, break through the fence. But yeah, anyways, guys, thank you so much for your participation tonight. I really learned a lot, and
Thanks, Lenny.
it was very enjoyable. And yeah, you're
Yeah.
welcome. And I'll send those Discord links out.
Yeah, can you send it to me too, please?
Yep,
Thank you, thank you.
will do. All right, guys. Thanks again.
Good night, everyone.
Have a
Take
great
care.
Good night.
evening.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.